Hello everyone, it's your options guy. Welcome back to another video. So in today's video we're going to talk about SOFI, and I'm basically going to cover a couple things. So number one, I'm going to just go over some chart data and then just talk about where I think the support and resistance is and where the next resistance is and possibly where we're heading. I'll even cover the option data and what's going on with options and what's going on specifically with SOFI options, just to show you guys where the money's going, pretty much what's going on with the money in general with SOFI, like the strikes and the highest premium and all that. We'll go over that in a second, and then I'll also cover some articles of basically like some people saying like the price target, and also covering SOFI like Galileo and stuff like that in general. I'll even cover the most recent news and why I think SOFI is moving, and also I'll cover basically what's going on with like those short interest and that whole aspect. And lastly, I'll go over my portfolio and what's going on with my portfolio and how many shares of SOFI I have and all that stuff. So all I ask is that you hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. And I just want to emphasize that I'm not a financial advisor. This is just my thoughts and opinions. So let's get into it. So first, let's start with the chart analysis. So lately, we've been bouncing up and down between this 20 and 25 range up until today. I think today we finally broke that 25 since we've basically since the post-merger. So for those of you guys that don't know, we were recently a SPAC of IPOE. And as you can see, this is kind of like where it started, and then it dropped, and then the announcement was like confirmed that we are merging, and then it kind of came back up. And lately, since the actual merger, we've been around this area between 20 and 25. So I believe it actually went above 25. I think it's sitting up at 25.17 within the after hours. So we'll see if it holds that above 25. Maybe the 25 will be the new support, and if it does break into the 25, possibly the next support will be at 28, around that range. And possibly if it breaks after that, I think 30 will probably be like the next range or next resistance. But first we have to break around this latest all-time high when we were in IPOE. And yeah, I feel like it at the rate it's going, I feel like 30 is actually not even that much of a challenge. But the only thing that does worry me is the RSI, which basically tells you if it's overbought or oversold. So we are getting really close to that overbought range, so we may see a pullback tomorrow, possibly in the morning, in the morning dip, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, so over here, what I'm showing you guys is basically the options data for today. It shows you the bullish flow and the bearish flow. So as you can see, bearish flow is right here, bullish flow is right here. Clover was definitely a big winner today. It actually overtook AMC. And let's see, where is SOFI? So if I search for SOFI, it actually didn't have that many orders come in, like premium orders, as it usually does. So let's just take a quick look at what came in today. So the latest, or the last one that came in today, was a strike for 25, so a little bit out the money for expiration of 7/16, which is actually just like a month away. So basically what this means when it's out the money is someone is projecting like a higher move up in the stock price within a very short time frame, because it's 7/16. That's actually really short. And actually most of these are relatively short, 7/16, 6/11, 6/18, except this one right here, 2023. This is like a leap. Someone's buying in the money and like far out expiration, but they're paying a lot of money compared to like shorter expirations and stuff. So I think it's kind of 50-50 based on just looking at this data for today. 50-50 as in some of them are in the money, meaning the strikes that they're getting, they're expecting it to be just move up a little bit, not too far up compared to when they bought it. So this one, for example, is 22.5, and they bought it at 23, at the 23 price. This one's really in the money at 15 strike. but again, they bought at 23. So the break evens are actually a lot smaller compared to the ones that are further out the money, like these 30 or 25. Their break evens are probably around 27, if not higher. So based on looking at this data, it's looking like 25 might be able to break and easily hold, at least in the short term. So yeah, that's basically the option data that came today. So now let's talk about some recent news. So lately, I think due to the whole Clover stock rallying 85% today, and seeing that other people are probably noticing that I think I'm saying it right, Chamath, he's leading like 4 other different SPACs. So like Virgin Galactic, Clover, Open Door, and SOFI. So I think people are getting or catching that idea, like, hey, SOFI was also heavily shorted, and it's also led by the same person. So I think that has to do with somewhat of a short squeeze that's happening right now. I don't necessarily know if it's a short squeeze just by looking at what happened today. It could just be because of what the news that came out recently, which I'll go over in a second. But I feel like the whole Clover kind of hype is also feeding into SOFI, which is good for if you're a doing trades right now with SOFI, or if you're a long-term investor. I feel like it's exposing SOFI somewhat, because I feel like SOFI hasn't really been exposed as much to the retail investor compared to other stocks. So I think it's good news overall. So 2 recent news that came out. Number 1 was, so Galileo, which is part of SOFI, it names a new chief executive, Derek White. Derek White, he was most recently a VP of Global Financial Services at Google Cloud, which is actually pretty big. So obviously this guy is kind of like a big player in the industry. So that's one of the most recent news. I think this just came out today. Another thing that recently came out is basically SOFI acquiring their own bank charter. So as you can see here, this article basically says in March 2021, SOFI announced acquisition of Golden Pacific Bancorp for $22.3 million. So it's a major step towards a national bank charter for the company. So having a bank charter would allow SOFI to accept deposits and make more profitable loans using member deposits. So instead of having to rely on third-party banks. So that's pretty big, because it would cut down costs essentially. So what SOFI does for the most part is it gives out loans, like student loans, auto loans, mortgage loans. As of right now, it kind of depends on other banks to give out those loans. So basically being able to like have their own bank, it would be a pretty big deal. So here it kind of tells you how Square recently obtained their national bank charters, and SoFi, I believe, is the second one to do so. So SoFi is, I think, it's attempting to catch up to Square and possibly take over it. So as you can see here, basically they go over like without the bank charter and with the bank charter, kind of like projections. So it says right here that the revenue or estimated revenue by 2022 would be 447 million with the bank charter. So that's a 76% jump. So that's really big news if you're a shareholder, because that's basically giving more obviously more revenue, higher stock price, more net income, all that good stuff. So the price to earnings ratio, it decreases, which is good because it makes the stock more attractive. If it has a high PE, then it seems to be looked at like kind of overvalued. So overall, good news. And I think this is probably like the second biggest most important thing, I would say, to SoFi, other than Galileo. So having Galileo is really, really important, because with the acquisition of Galileo, they basically like upped their revenues like by a lot. So I think it shows here SoFi's lending segment, which is like where they lend out money, like the loans and all that stuff. It accounts for 78% of their total revenue. 21% of that was just the Galileo alone, which was it generated 46 million in revenue, which was just like a million a year ago. So Galileo acquisition was really big, and I feel like the bank charter will like add to the whole lending revenue and cutting down costs and all that stuff. So really great news, I think. So that with the whole hype with Clover, I feel like are the two biggest reasons why the stock definitely rallied today, up 12%, and it may even like keep rallying tomorrow. I feel like the rally won't last that long though, just by looking at the RSI. I feel like it may touch, if it holds 25 tomorrow and if it doesn't sell off right away, then I can definitely see it touching like that 27 or 28, but it may come back down right after that. I would be really surprised if it touches 30 tomorrow right off the bat. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section, what you think is going to happen. And so let's go over to short interest. So I was looking at the most heavily shorted stocks. So as you can see here, I don't know if this is updated, but it shows Workhorse as like number 1, Clover as like number 4. Before, or like last week or so, I did see SOFI here. However, I don't see it anymore right now. So I don't know if this is updated, and I can't really tell you exactly the short interest that is in SOFI right now, but I do remember it being around 20 to 30 range. So if you do have that data, please add in the comment section. Really appreciate it. So now let me go over my portfolio. So as you can see, basically my portfolio hasn't really moved that much lately. It's just been kind of stagnating for a while. I have been buying more on the dips on especially coin and Bitcoin, I should say. I have been buying more on the dip of Bitcoin. I recently got into Bitcoin because well, a couple reasons. It is definitely like 30-40%, if not more, from its all-time high. So I think it's really good time to buy the fear. Also with coin, I feel like coin especially is really undervalued right now. But yeah, anyway, so as you can see, I have 500 shares of SOFI, up 1,600 right now. I was actually up an extra 1,000 because I did buy in at 1960, so technically I guess I'm up 2,600, but I'm still holding on to SOFI. I feel like it, at least the 30 range for now, will be definitely like my price target. I feel like it could definitely hit 30. Once it hits 30, I may start selling covered calls or something with SOFI, but we'll see. So anyways, that's pretty much my portfolio. Let me know in the comments on what you're doing or what you think is gonna happen tomorrow. Do you think it's gonna sell off right in the morning, or do you think it's actually gonna rally? So yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.